Welcome everybody to my complete Criterion collection video. I told you some point after I did my complete collection video I would come out with this to talk about my Criterions, and here we are. So for those who don't know, Criterion Collection, it's an American home distribution company that puts out contemporary or old-time films. They're most known for restoring films, restoring their audio, the visuals, and really just prolonging the life of the film. They're mostly pandered toward aficionados or film buffs, if you want to call them. In my opinion, my favorite company that puts out Blu-ray releases. They do a great job at giving you a lot of bang for your buck, whether it's a special edition or tons of bonus features that you wouldn't usually get with most releases. So without further ado, let's jump into my Criterion collection because there's a lot to get through. 12 Angry Men. 12 Angry Men is the story of 12 men who deliberate the guilt or acquittal of a defendant. Really, it's just the perfect courtroom drama with great characters, varying in different personalities and reasoning for their decisions. One of the interesting things that's done all in the confines of the jury room. Henry Fonda's Juror 8 was listed 28th on the 50 greatest heroes of the 20th century by AFI. The 400 Blows.
Comme je pouvais pas la revendre, comme je pouvais rien en faire, moi j'ai eu peur, je sais pas, je l'ai rapporté, je sais pas pourquoi, comme ça. Elle m'avait invité, c'était le jour de son anniversaire, et puis alors, comme elle est vieille, elle mange pas beaucoup, et puis elle garde tout son argent, elle en aurait pas eu besoin, elle allait bientôt mourir.
Ace in the Hole. Ace in the Hole was directed by the great Billy Wilder and stars Kirk Douglas. He plays a disgraced reporter who will stop at nothing to regain a major newspaper job. A fantastic examination of the shady relationship between the press, the news it reports, how it reports it, and how gullible people can be manipulated by the press. Anatomy of a Murder. Anatomy of a Murder is once called the finest pure trial film ever made. It's directed by Otto Preminger and stars James Stewart. It was one of the first mainstream Hollywood films to address sex and rape in graphic terms. As well, it includes one of Saul Bass's most widely celebrated title sequences. Badlands. Badlands is the debut of Terrence Malick. It also stars Martin Sheen and Sissy Spacek. It was based on a real-life murder spree by Charles Starkweather and his girlfriend Carol Ann Fugit. In 1993, it was selected for preservation by the Library of Congress for being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. The Before trilogy. 3 films, including Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Before Midnight. They're all directed by Richard Linklater and all-star Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy. The plot's considered minimalistic, as not much happens aside from walking and talking. The 2 characters' ideas of life and love are detailed throughout the films. Jesse is a romantic disguised as a cynic, and Celine is seemingly romantic, albeit with some doubts. Taking place over the course of one night, their limited time together is always on their minds, and leads to them revealing more about themselves than they probably would in other circumstances, since they both believe they'll never see each other again. And for the most part, it just repeats throughout the films. And it's just incredibly realistic in its portrayal of dialogue and relationships. Being John Malkovich. A comedy directed by Spike Jonze and written by Charlie Kaufman. It's both of them making their feature film debuts. Stars John Cusack as a puppeteer who finds a portal into John Malkovich's head, and Malkovich plays himself. It's highly original and just incredibly bizarre.
Malkovich.
Bicycle Thieves.
Pietro, prendi a zampe e va a Montesacro, aspettami là. Ma che sta a fare? Muoviti!
Dove portiamo? Al Flaminio o ai Parioli?
Al Flaminio. Al Flaminio, dove lo portare? Ci andiamo in tanti adesso, se no si affolla il commissariato. Ci andiamo io e Pasquale, e va. Lascia sta, lascio perdere.
E mo me la ciò qui.
Non voglio impicci, lascio sta. Buongiorno a tutti e grazie.
Bella roba che insegna al tuo figlio.
Blowout. John Travolta stars as a movie sound effect technician who, while recording sounds for a slasher film, unintentionally captures audio evidence of an assassination attempt on a presidential hopeful. While initially open to really uninterested audiences, it's since grown a cult following. Plus, De Palma's the man. Blue is the warmest color.
Si tu veux, tout ça, ça n'a pas beaucoup d'importance. Sartre, en fait, il a fait une petite révolution intellectuelle qui a eu pour mérite de libérer toute une génération. Faire qu'on peut décider soi-même de sa vie sans aucun principe supérieur. Moi, j'étais hyper Sartre dans mes années lycée, surtout dans l'affirmation de ma liberté et de mes propres valeurs. Puis aussi son exigence dans l'engagement, j'adhère complètement. Ouais, c'est un peu comme
Bottle Rocket. It's the directorial debut of Wes Anderson, as well as the debuts of Luke and Owen Wilson. A couple interesting facts about the film. After the film flopped, Owen Wilson almost joined the Marines, and as of now, it's the only Wes Anderson film in which Bill Murray does not make an appearance. Boyhood. I don't need to tell you this film took 12 years to make. I don't need to tell you it was nominated for 6 Oscars, including a win for Patricia Arquette. I will say that this film has many personal similarities that relate so much to my pubescent and adolescent life that transcend beyond the film, and that I have such an emotional connection to it, and that's why I love it.
I hate squash!
The Bridge.
Soll das, was war, vergessen? Niemals. Schon vieles gesagt worden von dem Grauen des Krieges, der hinter uns liegt. Aber wisst ihr schon etwas über die 7 Kinder an der Brücke, die glaubten noch in letzter Stunde durch ihren Einsatz das Vaterland retten?
Räder müssen rollen für den Sieg!
Die Brücke. Ein Film der neuen Gesichter. Ein Film der Jugend. Ein Film, der sich an alle Menschen wendet.
Brief Encounter. It's directed by David Lean, about British suburban life on the eve of World War II. It centers on a married woman with children whose conventional life becomes seemingly complicated because of a chance meeting at a railroad station with a stranger. They inadvertently but quickly develop a love affair, which brings about unexpected consequences. It's considered an important form of realist cinema because of its small scale and its lack of big-name actors. Charade, a film that spans 3 different genres: suspense thriller, comedy, and a romance. It's also referred to as the best Hitchcock film that Hitchcock never made. I mean, if you look at this, it looks exactly like a Hitchcock film, yet it isn't. La Chienne.
Tu vas en avoir marre de traîner avec moi une gourde comme toi, tu sais? Oh là là, tâche de te débrouiller avec ce mec-là, hein?
Un peu nouille, c'est ce que tu veux dire. À ça, j'ai jamais pu la franchir complètement pour ce qui est conduit. Avec le grand, je crois que je vais être un peu plus peinard. La rosace, mon pote, bourré, bourré.
Tu m'embêtes un peu, tu sais, c'est que tu dépenses trop d'argent.
In the film, Michel Simon falls in love with Jenny Maurice, and he did off-screen as well. While Maurice fell for Georges Flamant, who plays the pimp. Renoir, who's the director, and producer Pierre Braunberger had encouraged the relationship between Flamant and Maurice in order to get the fullest conviction of the performances. After the film had been completed, Flamant, who could barely drive, took Maurice for a drive. He crashed the car and she was killed. At the funeral, Michel Simon fainted and had to be supported as he walked past the grave. He threatened Renoir with a gun, saying that the death of Maurice was all his fault. "Kill me if you like," responded Renoir, "but I have made the film." The French are crazy. City Lights. And it's the only one that's got a regular Blu-ray casing. About love and loss, and it's deeply moving. Plain and simply, it's an epic. It's directed by David Fincher and starring Brad Pitt as a man who ages backwards. A curious case of Criterion selection. Darjeeling Limited. This is the second Wes Anderson so far on this list. A story of 3 brothers trying to reconnect on a journey of spiritual self-discovery. Probably the most forgotten of Anderson's films. It also has a prequel short entitled Hotel Chevalier with Jason Schwartzman and Natalie Portman that adds more perspective to his character. Day for Night.
Nous voici arrivés au milieu de l'aventure. Avant de commencer un tournage, je désire surtout faire un film qui sera beau. Dès que les premiers ennuis surgissent, je dois réduire mon ambition et je me prends à espérer simplement qu'on arrivera à terminer le film. Vers le milieu du tournage, je fais un examen de conscience et je me dis: tu aurais pu travailler mieux, tu aurais pu donner davantage. À présent, il te reste la seconde moitié pour te...
Days of Heaven. It's the last Malick film before he took his 20-year hiatus. A story of 2 lovers who travel to Texas Panhandle to harvest crops for a wealthy farmer, all the while plotting to claim the fortune of the dying farmer by tricking him into a false marriage. A great example of fantastic cinematography. It won the Oscar and was selected for preservation by the National Film Registry. Dazed and Confused. 4 in a row from directors we've already mentioned. Richard Linklater directed this film, and it includes an ensemble cast of characters that Most of them went on to be big stars nowadays, including Matthew McConaughey, Ben Affleck, Mila Jovovich. It simply tells the story of the last day of school in 1976. The film manages to truly capture that 70s film vibe while actually being made in the 90s. And it's where McConaughey's alright came from. Diabolique.
Elle m'avait invité, c'était le jour de son anniversaire. Et puis alors, comme elle est vieille, elle mange pas beaucoup, et puis elle garde tout son argent, elle en aurait pas eu besoin, elle allait bientôt mourir. Comme je connaissais sa plante, j'étais lui fauché des ronds, quoi. Je savais bien qu'elle s'en apercevrait pas. La preuve, c'est qu'elle s'en est pas aperçue. Elle m'avait offert un beau bouquin ce jour-là.
Don't Look Now. It focuses on the psychology of grief and the effect the death of a child can have on a relationship. Its depiction of grief has been identified as unusually strong for a film featuring supernatural plot elements. It's renowned for its innovative editing style and its use of recurring motifs and themes, and for a controversial sex scene that was truly explicit for the time. As well, it's known for its horrifying twist ending. Dressed to Kill. Palma's Back centers on the murder of a housewife and an investigation involving a young prostitute who witnessed the murder, the victim's teenage son, and her psychiatrist. Tarantino was inspired to write True Romance because of this film. Oddly enough, Nancy Allen received a Golden Globe nomination as well as a Razzie nomination for her performance. Eraserhead, a black and white film that is David Lynch's first feature film. One of those strange and hard to decipher films. It initially opened to small audiences, but after a long run of midnight showings, it's definitely grown in popularity. Some recurring themes include sex, parenthood, and pacifism. Eyes Without a Face.
Mon masque me fait plus peur encore.
Ah mais ça m'étonnerait, j'ai horreur des artichauts. Ah mais ça m'étonnerait, j'ai horreur des artichauts. Bonjour Lucien. Voilà tout ce que vous m'avez demandé.
F for Fake. The last major film completed by Orson Welles. Elmire Deori's recounting of his career as a professional art forger. Deori's story serves as the backdrop for this fast-paced, meandering investigation of the natures of authorship and authenticity, as well as the basis and value of art. Loosely a documentary, the film operates several different genres and has been described as a kind of film essay. It includes slick, attention-grabbing editing that manages to keep your attention through the hour-and-a-half runtime.
At the very beginning of all this, I did make you a promise. Remember?
I did promise that for 1 hour, I'd tell you only the truth.
That hour, ladies and gentlemen, is over. For the past 17 minutes, I've been lying my head off.
Fanny and Alexander.
Det här är Alexander Ekdal.
Lämna oss ensamma, Aron. Du behöver inte vara ängslig. Jag ska inte äta upp honom. Som han ser aptitlig ut.
Morbror Isak skulle inte...
Morbror Isak är en gammal get. Får aldrig kännedom om Alexanders besök. Jag heter Ismail. Det vet du väl redan. Och han ska bliva lik en vildås. Hand ska vara mot var mans hand. Och var mans hand mot honom. Han ses farlig. Därför är jag inlåst.
På vilket sätt är du farlig?
Skriv ditt namn på det här pappret. Här har du pennan. Den är tråkigt nog ganska trubbig, men det går nog ändå. Alexander.
Fantastic Mr. Fox. Stop-motion comedy film directed by Wes Anderson, based on Roald Dahl's childhood book. Because of the subject matter, Anderson wanted to record outside instead of in a studio to get natural sounds. The film is about a fox who steals food each night from 3 mean and wealthy farmers. They're fed up with Mr. Fox's theft and try to kill him. So they dig their way into the fox's home, but the animals are able to outwit the farmers and live underground. And that is done with part 1 of my complete Criterion Collection video. Hopefully you guys liked it because I'm working on part 2 now. Let me know down below if you enjoyed it, if you like the editing style, how it was done. And I don't know, down below let me know what your favorite Criterion is, because I'm always curious, always down to talk about some Criterions. So anyways, like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time.